All right, I'm so pumped to talk about this because I love co-sleeping. I loved co-sleeping. Like, it is just, oh, it just warms my heart. So I'm so excited to chat with you about it. So I put up a question box on Instagram and I was like, Moms, like, tap in. What questions do we have? What do we want to talk about? And someone asked about transitioning from to like sleeping on their own. And I put up a poll like, who wants me to talk about this? And so many of you said that you did. So here we are chatting about it. I definitely have another podcast episode that I did a while back on co-sleeping. So you could go back and watch that. As of like right now, I'll like give you an update on where we're at. So Madison is almost 2.5, not quite. And I co-slept with her from starting at 4 weeks until she was about 10 months. Yeah, like about 10 months. But I'll still bring her in my bed if she wakes up. Like, so we're not like consistently co sleeping just in our bed. She's mostly in her crib now. I'll get to all of that, but that's like kind of where we're at right now. And the only reason why I started co sleeping at 4 weeks was because I was scared. Probably so many of you listening, maybe you're pregnant or you're postpartum or whatever. Like, they tell you never put the baby in the bed, like it's not safe, da da da, like all this bullshit. So, and Chris at the time was like, no, it's not safe. Like he was like really against it. But from the second she was born and I put her in the bassinet, I was like so unsettled. I'm like, I need someone to literally stare and watch her sleep. Like, I couldn't sleep with her in the bassinet. Like, not that you're really sleeping in the beginning anyway. Like I was breastfeeding. Like, literally, it's like every 45 minutes. It was insane. So there was like no sleep happening. But even if I could close my eyes for half an hour, I like couldn't. I just did not feel settled with her in her bassinet. And so this was like one of the first really strong, like intuitive feelings I had as a mom. Not the very first one, it happens like so quickly, but just one of them. I was just like, no, I need her next to me. Like I need her in the bed with me. And some mothers, maybe you don't have this feeling. Like some people don't like close sleeping. They never want to do close sleeping. That's totally fine. Obviously you do if you're listening to this. So what I would say first with that too, whether you're listening to this and you're pregnant and you're preparing or you are postpartum, is like trust your intuition on it. Like I'm so happy and I wish I did it those 4 weeks prior, but like you can't go back. In the future, when I have more children, like I'm for sure going to be co-sleeping just like right away. Like unless I feel differently, but I don't see that happening. But it was like, oh, just the best experience. I loved it so much. And I'm so glad I trusted myself in knowing that like I actually wanted to do that and followed through with it. Anyway, so that's how we did the co-sleeping. Now, when I transitioned her, so in the beginning, when first she was in the bed with me, she was in I mean, and also disclaimer, like they don't recommend doing this is like not safe co-sleeping. I'm just telling you like what we did, but they tell you not to do this, so don't do this. But this is what I did. Was we had the Snuggle Me, and it's kind of like a DocuTot but just like a different brand, and it says like right on Snuggle Me, like do not let children sleep in there. But anyway, here we are. I had the Snuggle Me in the bed and she would sleep in the Snuggle Me in the bed. So we did that until she grew out of it. And that was, let me see, June, July, August, October, maybe 5 months, like somewhere around there. And then maybe 4 months. It's a little fucking blur because again, I was breastfeeding. I breastfed for 2 years and I breastfed throughout the night until I'll tell you when I was part of transitioning from co-sleeping to sleeping on in her bed. So about like 5 months, probably, like maybe we did that. And then I put her just like in the bed with me. And so when she was in the Snuggle Me, she would start just in the bed, right? In the Snuggle Me in the bed. I would just like put her in there because she couldn't roll. Like I think it took her out once she started like being able to like actually get out of it and like crawl around or whatever. Anyway, at first it was just a Snuggle Me in the bed, and I would just like stay there. Like as soon as I would put her to sleep, it would be there, and then she'd be up often or whatever. Once she got out of that, I didn't start her in the bed because I was afraid because if I wasn't in the bed yet, right? Because I would like put her down, for her first like section of sleep. Because again, she was always up a lot in the middle of the night. Before I would actually be ready to go to bed, but I would be nervous to actually put her in there without someone in the bed with her because I'd be scared she'd roll off or whatever. And I didn't have like a gate thing up at the time. So I would start her in her crib. She would wake up multiple times and I would just like rock her and put her back in the crib until I was ready to actually go to sleep. And she would usually always wake up like right before I was ready to go to sleep, or right as I'm like finishing putting on my lotion after the shower. And then whenever that would happen, I would just like pick her up and bring her back into bed. And then we would co-sleep the whole night for like my night of sleep. And she would nurse like in the middle of the night, whatever. It was just like, I don't even remember it happening. I was just like laying there, like boobs out, whatever. Like come get what you want to get. Doesn't fucking matter. Okay. As long as you're sleeping, I'm laying down, like I'm good. So that's how we did it for a while. Then I started noticing that she, around 10 months is when we stopped like exclusively like co-sleeping, when she was around 10 months, because I started noticing that she wasn't sleeping well. Like she was tossing and turning a lot. So for the transition, like I had no timeline in my mind. Like I really just didn't. I wasn't like, okay, by this time, we're going to transition her to the crib. I just was always like following her lead, following my intuition, and following when it started to feel off. And that it was right around that 10-month mark where I was just like one night or a few nights in a row, she was just tossing and turning so much. She was like barely sleeping. And I'm like, okay, this isn't working for her anymore. And I was noticing, and her stretches were also getting longer when I would first put her down in her crib. So that was helpful too with the co-sleeping of like, she was also used to her crib from like the very beginning of the night because she would sleep in there. And well, for a while, she was not doing crib naps because she would refuse to nap in her crib. It was only on a walk or in the car. But then at some points, she was napping in her crib too. So she like got to know her crib then. So that's very helpful for the transition if you can get them to sleep in the crib. Again, she really didn't do that for naps until like a while later. For like the majority of her life, it was, napping in the stroller in the car. Still to this day, she only does one nap a day, will not nap in her crib, only in the car. So you're not alone on that. Okay. And I just do. I'm just like, fucking, I don't fucking care. I'm not like, I just want her to sleep. I'll just do work in the car or whatever. Mom drive her around. Like, it doesn't matter. And so I started noticing that. So what I would say for you is like having a specific timeline might not work best because I'm anticipating if you're a co-sleeping parent or you want to be a co-sleeping parent, you're also not a parent that's going to have them cry it out, right? That's not my vibe. I never let her cry it out. I will never let her cry it out. If she cries, I'm responding, period, every single time, even if it's 15 times in the middle of the night. Like I'm just going to respond. And so if it feels like they're really not ready and you're kind of forcing it, just know that it's definitely going to be a lot more of you getting up and redirecting her and soothing her back to sleep or him back to sleep. So I would just try and follow their lead, especially if you are a co-sleeping parent, and especially if you're a breastfeeding parent, like, and just mothers in general. You're so in tune with your child, really follow their lead on it. And your intuition of when you start to feel like, okay, it's time, I think, to do mostly transitioning her to the crib or to the bed or whatever, toddler bed, depending on how old your child is. So being so in tune with your baby is like so helpful for this. So then what I did then, once I was like, okay, this isn't working well anymore, I started her in her crib at night like we always did. And then when she would wake up, instead of bringing her into bed with me, I just rocked her and soothed her and then transferred her back into her crib. But before I did that, actually, before I did this transition, now that I'm thinking about this, maybe it was before or during, it was right around the same time. It's like so hard, it's so blurry. I stopped nursing her to sleep and I stopped nursing her when she woke up in the middle of the night. So that was huge for the transition from co-sleeping. And if you are someone who's not breastfeeding, but you're co-sleeping, I feel like a lot of times people who are co-sleeping are also breastfeeding. But if you're not, then like this part won't apply to you. But what I did was I dropped the middle of the night one. I definitely dropped that middle of the night one first because, and it wasn't often, like for a long time, she wasn't really eating much in the middle of the night at all. But I dropped that one first and I just would give her her pacifier, right? And I would just like rock her, I'd give her her pacifier. And it was generally fine. Like the middle of the night one was like pretty easy for us to drop. The nursing to sleep, that first, like when I would first put her to sleep, that was more difficult to have her transition off of. She cried. And like I said, I don't ever let her cry by herself. So I was holding her and she was obviously crying, but I just kept telling her like, I know you're confused. I know you don't understand. Like you're so used to mommy nursing you or giving you the ninny pops. She called it ninny pops. We're moving on. But I was like, mama's here. Like, I love you. You can have your nippy instead. And she was crying like 3 nights. It took about 3 nights of her crying, not the whole night, obviously, but for like a little bit of time for me to soothe her until she then was like, okay with me not nursing her to sleep. I would have to like put stuff over me though for her because she would like really try and get in there, try to put like barriers over me. But doing that helped her not like wake up and look for the boob. So if you are transitioning into their crib and you are breastfeeding, drop the middle of the night feed first. This is again, if you don't want to do that, then don't do that. But it's obviously going to be very helpful for their transition because a lot of times they wake up in the middle of the night and they want the boob, they want it right there. So if they're in their crib, they're obviously going to cry then if they are waking up to the boob and the boob isn't there. But once you get rid of the boob in the middle of the night, they're not going to wake up as much, or if they do, they're not going to be looking for the boob. So they'll probably just like roll back over and go to sleep. So that would be definitely something I would suggest. And I still breastfed again for over a year after that. We just did, in the morning before naps. I would just, and I still nursed her before going to sleep. I just didn't nurse her to sleep. Like I nursed her with the light on. And then when she was done, I would like read a book, give her her pacifier, and then go to sleep. Right. So I still nursed her at night. I just didn't let her fall asleep right on the boob. Which we did for like a really long time. And I think it's not a bad habit. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to do. I did it for so long. I just noticed with transitioning from co-sleeping, that was really helpful of not having her fall asleep with the boob in her mouth. I would just like take it out when I would see that she'd be getting sleepy, and just give her her pacifier. And that was it. So, anyway, we definitely suggest doing that. So that was very helpful. And then when she would, because she would still, of course, wake up in the middle of the night because she was used to it, I would just, instead of bring her into bed, I would just rock her in the rocking chair and then transfer her back to sleep. Sometimes this was 3, 4, 5 times in the middle of the night. Okay. And that's just, again, I wasn't going to do cry it out as just not my vibe. And when you are transitioning, like I would just go into it with no expectations and no timelines and really just anticipate that this is what's going to happen. Because especially if like they're used to waking up in the middle of the night, they're used to you being next to them, like it makes sense. If they wake up and they like your body's not there, they're going to be like, what the hell? You know what I mean? So I did that for a long time. And like I said, she was never really a great sleeper. She woke up a lot in the middle of the night for her whole entire life, literally up until like a little after 2. So there are some people that are like, oh yeah, my kid slept through the night, like from 3 months on. And I'm like, I think you're lying. I'm sorry. I just think you're lying because did they never teeth? Did they never get sick? Like, what do you mean? I just don't understand because there was teething involved in all of that, which she teethed from like 4 months to like 2 years. She was like literally teething. She got her teeth so fast and she was just constantly teething. So anyway, that is just how I did it. And then at one point I was just like, because I was really trying to not go back to co-sleeping because I did want some semblance of a morning back because like when you're co-sleeping, I would just like wake up when she woke up. Right. And I loved it, surrendered to it. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I love waking up to her. Like it was, I just love it so much. But there came a point where I was like, okay, I'm excited to have a morning where I could wake up before her because I would try and wake up before her when we were co-sleeping, but I breathe and she knows I'm freaking awake. Okay. Like she's like, we're up. Okay. Like let's get the party started. So like I could not sneak out. She would just like, she knows when I'm up and then she's up. So I was excited to like get that back. So I was really trying hard to not bring her back into bed and to just like rock her in the chair and then put her back in her crib. But there came a point, especially when she was teething a lot and when she was up a lot, and I was just like, fuck this. I can't do it anymore. I just like can't keep getting up. I can't keep falling asleep in the chair. My back is broken. I was just like, I'm just taking her back into bed with me if she wakes up. Like it is what it is. It doesn't bother me. I like doing it. And I'm just like, okay, this is the season I'm in where I'm not going to just like have an hour morning routine by myself. And that's okay. This isn't going to be forever. She's not going to be 15 still sleeping in my bed and me not being able to wake up before her. So I just did that. And then her stretches just got longer and longer, right? When she stopped teething, she wasn't waking up as often. She would maybe wake up once in the middle of the night sometimes. And sometimes I would rock her back and put her back in her crib. And then sometimes I would just bring her to bed with me. And then I got like that. It's not a gate, but it's like a net or whatever for the side of the bed. So like she wouldn't roll off. So it'd be like me, her, and then that thing on the other side of the bed. So I guess I'm like still sometimes co-sleeping. So we haven't fully transitioned just because I'm not going to spend a half an hour every single night rocking her back to sleep just to put her back in her crib. Why? Why? Why am I doing that to myself? It's not a bad habit to have them sleep in your crib. It's not going to get them used to it. Like, I thought that for so long, but it's simply not true. When she's sick, when she wakes up, if she's now having a nightmare or something, and I bring her into bed, she doesn't like need that every single night now. It's random. Like, most of the time now, she's fully in her bed all night long. And again, this really only just started when she hit around 2 years old. So just like if you had the expectation like I did when I first had a kid, of like, oh, after 3 months I sleep so much better. That was not my child. That was not my child, which is totally fine. But it's like, I think we have these expectations and we hear these things and then we're just like, that's not real. That was not my experience. So sleep was always like a thing. And you just get used to it. I just get used to it. I don't have caffeine. I don't have coffee. I'm just like, you just fucking get used to it. It's insane the amount that you can get done, the energy you can have when you're on such little sleep. You just literally get used to it. But anyway, so like now she mostly sleeps all night by herself. And literally we just changed like the tweak that I noticed. We tweaked two things, and this is what like really helped it, was switching her nap time to actually later in the morning. She's been doing one nap for a long time, but she was napping at like 11ish and changing it to like 12:30, which is weird. I thought it'd be the other way around, like sleeps the whole night. And then I also started giving her iron, because I was seeing like iron deficiency can cause a lot of sleep disturbances. And I was also having a thought that like she might be iron deficient. We are plant-based. Not that you're going to be iron deficient because you're plant-based, but she was getting a lot more lentils and chickpeas and things like that before she started having more opinions, before she became like a toddler. So I know she wasn't getting as many iron-rich foods. We're going to be getting her blood work done, but I added that in. And from the Ella Ola, I'm obsessed with their multivitamin, first of all. And they have iron separate with vitamin C, because it should be separate, because not everybody needs iron also. And it has the vitamin C in it to help absorb it. It's amazing. But once we did those two like shifts, she's, for the first time in her fucking life, literally, she like sleeps through the night, goes to sleep now around like 7:30, and she's never a 7 to 7 type of child. She normally does like 11 hours now, which I'll take it. She's up between like 6 and 7 now, it depends. But she does that the majority of the times. But last night, for example, she woke up crying, like crying. If she just like wakes up sometimes and like wants me, she'll just like wake up and sit up and just be like, mama, and like I'll just go get her. But if she wakes up crying, I know it's because of something. So that happens randomly, and I'm like, oh, she must be having like a nightmare or something, that happens around this age. So that happened last night. It was like, I don't even remember what time it was, maybe 2:45. I just took her back in my bed, and then we woke up together this morning. Or actually, no, I woke up a little before her, but then she heard me and she woke up, so it's fine. So like, I still will do that. And I just don't think it's realistic to think that your child is never going to wake up in the middle of the night ever. I mean, I don't see that ever being possible, even especially when you don't sleep train. But even if you do sleep train, it's like they're still gonna have nightmares. They're still gonna, but then again, it's like, okay, maybe people just like let them cry, and I just cannot do that. I'm just not, that's a whole nother topic. I just don't believe in that. I just don't think that's good for the child or the mother or whatever. But so yeah, so we're still like sometimes co-sleeping, meaning like if she wakes up, I'm just taking her in bed because I get more sleep like that. She feels comforted. I'm not going to be like rocking her to sleep in a chair just to, why do that to myself when it's not forming a bad habit? When she needs me, she needs me. When she doesn't, majority of the time, like I said, she's sleeping through the night now, which is amazing. But I'm just going to bring her into bed when I need to. So as far as like the transitioning, I would just not expect it to be a smooth transition where it's like one day they're co-sleeping with you, the next day they're not. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take time. It is likely going to take you soothing them like in their room and then transferring back into their crib like a few times in the middle of the night. Especially if you're breastfeeding, it might take you dropping that like in the middle of the night feed to help with them not being used to you, like not wanting to feed in the middle of the night. And like sometimes you're going to wake up, and if you want, you could just bring them back into bed. Or if you really don't want to do that, if it's like really affecting you anymore, then I would just like rock them and put them back in their crib. Again, I'm assuming you're not someone who's going to do cry it out either, but those things were really helpful. And just like doing naps in the crib, if they will nap in there, starting them out like in the beginning of the night in there, doing like our nighttime routine in there. So like, after the bath or whatever, we do a book in there, we read, we like get our pajamas on, like do all of that in the bedroom. If you weren't doing that when you're co-sleeping, definitely do that. Get them used to it. I'll like I used to do this too for like naps. When she would nap in there, I put like some books in there. So when she woke up, she would just read and play in there for a while. So then she likes being in her crib. She loved doing that. I like forgot about that because she hasn't napped in her crib in so long, but she was napping in there for a while. And then she was like playing there and she would love it. So, and even now, like when she wakes up in the morning, she plays with her dolls in there. I don't have like toys in there. I just have like her stuffed animals. She plays in there like it's all good. So people who were like, oh, if you co-sleep, like they're never going to sleep independently. That's fucking bullshit. Or like if you answer every cry and you don't like sleep train, they're never going to learn how to like sleep on their own. Again, that's bullshit. Like, I'm sorry. It just is. From my personal experience. Anyway, so I hope this was helpful for you. Again, I'm not a parenting expert. I'm not a co-sleeping expert. I'm just a parent that has done this and I've loved it. And I think it's so amazing for the bond between you and the baby. It's so amazing for the baby, especially in the beginning. Like there are so many studies that show that it reduces SIDS because like it helps like their breathing, like mimics your breathing. It's so good when you're breastfeeding. Like I just loved it so much. So that's just what I would say for the transition. Really don't have any expectations or timelines. Follow their cues, follow their needs and your intuition of when you think is a good time to transition. Getting them to really like their crib and do the bedtime routine in there, transferring them once they fall asleep in your arms, then into the crib, dropping the breastfeeding in the middle of the night and falling asleep to it. That's definitely helpful if you want to do that. Obviously, it's up to you. And then just like rocking them to sleep if they wake up again, if you don't want to bring them back into your bed and then transfer. So it's just like, it's a process. Like, that's one of the biggest struggles, I think, as a parent for me was the lack of sleep. I was at 8 hours of sleep every single night, no interruptions. Like I loved my sleep. I still love it. But I just, there comes a point where it's just like, well, this just is not my season to sleep like that. It just is what it is. And you just have to like surrender to where you're at and find like the joy in it too. Like I absolutely love when she comes into my bed now. I also love when she's not and I wake up before her and I have my morning routine, but I don't have such a tight grip on it anymore because I know it's not going to be like that every single night because she's a human. She's not a fucking robot. She's going to have nightmares. She's going to need her mom sometimes. And like, amazing. I'm so glad I get to be there and do that for her. She's going to be sick sometimes. Like it is what it is. And I want to be there to support her like that. So with the transition, it's like, yes, we're mostly transitioned, but there are still times that we're not. And I think that's totally fine. And I feel like that should be the expectation. I don't think the expectation should be one night they're sleeping with us, the next night they're not, and they're never going to wake up again. And they're always going to be in their bed again. Like that's just not real. It's just not. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. I'm excited for you for the transition and just like go with your intuition. Mom's intuitions are so strong and they're always right. Trust it. Doesn't matter what I'm saying. If what I'm saying is not aligning with you, don't do it. Like trust yourself. You know your baby better than anybody else. Okay. They literally grew inside your body. You are connected forever. Trust your intuition on when to transition, how to do it, the timeline. Block out the noise of everybody else. Do what you feel is best. You're not forming bad habits. You're not a bad mom. You're not you're responding to your baby and you're doing what's best for your baby. Trust that always over anything else and anybody else. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. I love you so much. I hope you love this episode. Keep me posted on how it goes for you. DM me on Instagram at Angelica. I want to hear about it and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here. If you loved this episode and learned something valuable, please share it with a friend who you think would also love it, or post it on social media and tag me so I could personally say thank you for helping me spread this important message. I am beyond grateful to be here with you. So until next time, stay intentional, stay consistent, and always mind your hormones.